These days, what's it looking like at the moment?
It's looking like it's filling up late, in that there are more empty seats 5 minutes before kick-off than there were ahead of the Derby County game. However, I've been perusing social media for the last hour, and the suggestion is, because it's a Friday, and the rush hour on a Friday tends to be about an hour, 90 minutes earlier, doesn't it? The roads have not been quite so bad from what I'm hearing, and there'll be people shouting at their radios in their car if they're stuck at the moment. But I think it hasn't been quite as bad outside as it was on for a Tuesday or Wednesday game.
If you are stuck in your car and it's safe and legal to do so, drop me a text and just let me know what it is like out there at the moment. So kick-off then, only a couple of 3 minutes away now, or the scheduled kick-off time. They do tend to kick off a little bit late when it's on the box for getting the advertising in as well. So it's the first of a number of live games this weekend on BBC Radio WM Sport. Then so on Sunday at 2 o'clock, we'll have Southampton against Wolves. Tomorrow afternoon will be on from midday. We've got the 12:30 kick-off at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United against Aston Villa. At 3 o'clock tomorrow, Birmingham City against Preston North End and Walsall against Bristol Rovers. But it is now time. The teams will be on the pitch very, very shortly. Our first live game of the weekend. West Bromwich Albion have the chance to go back to the top of the Championship table. Standing between them and doing that are Queen's Park Rangers. It's full match commentary on BBC Radio WM Sport with Tony Bomber Brown and Richard Wilford.
Yeah, welcome aboard to the Hawthorns, one of 5 big match commentaries in less than 48 hours coming your way on BBC Radio WM as we service the West Midlands football family. For Albion, they may be unbeaten, but as we've been discussing, not everybody happy with the football. They're averaging 2 points a game, mind you. If they do that for the entire season, they're probably heading back to the Premier League. They could do with a good performance and some eye-catching moments today, though, against QPR. The Albion starting lineup has Sam Johnston of England in goal. At the back, Semi Ajayi making his 200th league appearance, Kyle Bartley and Connor Townsend, Darnell Furlong and Adam Reach are the wing-backs, with Jake Livermore and Alex Mowat in between them, and a front three of Grady Dean Garner, Matt Phillips and Carlin Grant. On the bench, David Button, Cedric Kipre, Keane Bryan, Jason Malumbi, Robert Snodgrass, Callum Robinson and Jordan Hugill. For QPR, who bizarrely are, like Albion, wearing blue and white tonight. I mean, the shades are different, but nonetheless it's a bit weird. For QPR, Semi Jiang is their goalkeeper. The 3 centre-backs are Rob Dickey, Jordi Device and Jimmy Dunn. The wing-backs, Moses Onabajo and Johan Barbe, looks like he's starting on the left. Don Ball and Stefan Johansson, who had a lone spell here in front of them. Elias Chair playing behind Andre Gray. And Chris Willock, who had a fruitless lone spell here when he didn't even get on the pitch. On the bench, Joe Walsh is the keeper. Osman Kakai, Andre Dazelle, Albert Adoma, formerly of the Villa, George Thomas, Lyndon Dykes, and the player that Albion fans fear most tonight, Charlie Austin. James Linnington is our referee. And as somebody billed it today, it's the derby of the teams with the invisible numbers. Albion's actually aren't quite so bad this season. For QPR, we're going to need a helping hand, Tony Bomber Brown.
Yeah, I think you're right, Richard. Very, very hard to focus on what the numbers are, aren't they, in front of us? But I'm just expecting a hard-fought game again, because I know all the teams that come to the Hawthorns now for the rest of the season are going to play, start off defensively, try and combat Albion's style of play, and I'm hoping that there's 1 or 2 goals in the QPR then.
Yeah. Come on, you Blues, shout both teams. It's stripes against hoops. Albion in the very dark blue striped kit with white shorts and dark blue socks. QPR in more of a navy blue and white hoop shirts with blue shorts and white socks. By all accounts, QPR's away kit clashes rather worse than this one does with Albion's kit. So we were on to a bit of a loser. The crowd has built up substantially in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Good presence coming up from London on a...
Hello, and thank you for listening to BBC Local Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current programme on this station is unavailable. This is either due to contractual reasons or a temporary technical fault. Please try again later. If you're looking for a sport commentary, please visit bbc.co.uk/sport commentaries for details. For the latest news and information from where you live, please visit bbc.co.uk/England. Hello, and thank you for listening to BBC Local Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current programme
thought that could have been a foul there on Chair.
Chair seemed to be taken out there by Reach on the far side, but a throw-in's been given. Possibly the officials believe that Chair had just run the ball too far and then bought the contact.
But it looked, well, it's either a foul because there wasn't. Because if you give the throw to West Brom, that would suggest that West Brom didn't get the touch. I didn't think they kicked it off him, but that's why Chair looked disappointed. He thinks it should have at least been their throw, but he's looked lively. Willett looks lively. Just getting frustrated there, Chair. Yeah.
Chair has conceded a free kick on the far side, and he picks up the ball and slams it into the turf in frustration. And James Lillington, the referee, will just have one or two words.
Yeah, I can see, and that's all the referee needs to say. I think he's a bit frustrated. A few things haven't gone his way. West Brom know that what a dangerous player he is. They're getting bodies around him. But I feel this front three of QPR look very, very dangerous. Getting other bodies committed. I think the midfield really complement each other in Ball and Janssen. So, yeah, good start from QPR.
Lovely turn from Dean Garner. Tries to thread it through to Grant, but it's cut out by Device. And now Dickey will play it forward for Queen's Park Rangers. But Townsend, the left-sided central defender, brings it forward for West Brom. Slid into the penalty area for Dean Garner. Cut back in field, and it was Livermore who was supporting the attack along with Grant. But once again, it's cleared away. Headed back over the top, though, by Bartley. The bounce of the ball favours Reach as he nods it towards the edge of the Queen's Park Rangers penalty area. But now Mowat gathers for West Brom. Finds Phillips. With the ball back towards Mowat is quickly cut out. Rich, though, does well to keep it in play, or at least he thought he did, but the assistant on the far side has given a throw-in to Queen's Park Rangers. It is breathless stuff. 10 minutes played on TalkSport 2, and it's West Brom 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1.
Yeah, as you say, breathless stuff. It is a real tempo to this game. Both teams counter-pressing as soon as the opposition get it, looking to stretch the pitch, sometimes playing, other times just not being scared to turn the opposition's defence. So yeah, a real tempo to this game, but I'm enjoying it, and some real quality at times as well.
Valerian Ismail standing there, arms folded on the edge of the West Brom technical area. He is a very impressive figure, had a very decent career as a player, winning the Bundesliga with both Werder Bremen and Bayern Munich. French central defender come defensive midfielder, and he has very clear ideas on how football should be played as Ajayi strides forward now for Queen's Park Rangers, threads it through to Dean Garner, who was onside into the penalty area down the right, and I think he tried to go for goal from the corner of the 6-yard area, and it turned out to be a very effective clearance.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I thought surely that must have hit a defender for a player of his quality in that position to miss by so far, but it was, as you say, it was like a shot that was a very effective clearance. Great play though, Ajayi stepping in, breaking the line, good movement, and they're the moments that Valerian Ismail will say you've got to be more clinical, should at least be working the goalkeeper there.
Odebajo plays it back towards Sene Dieng. Now low from Dickey up towards Willock, who's had a very good start to the season for Queen's Park Rangers. Lovely football again from Queen's Park Rangers as Barbe finds Willock down the left-hand side, but under pressure from Ajayi, he just runs it out of play. But it's a fascinating clash in styles at the moment. We know West Brom are looking for the high press and the vertical football, as Valerian Ismail calls it, but West Brom have seen Queen's Park Rangers play through that press with some lovely passing.
I was just thinking there, the way they beat that press was excellent. You know, it was set up well from West Brom. They tried to make it be predictable, but all the options are there, all the times of the movement, and if Chris Willock hadn't overrun the ball there, they were out of that press, and he got in the other side of Ajayi. So yeah, some very composed, intelligent football from QPR.
Furlong throws it short towards Dean Garner, and he's done well to ride a challenge and find Grant, who can break towards the edge of the penalty area. Low right foot shot from him is a comfortable save for Dieng.
Yeah, it was easy. Good play from West Brom. Ball dived in a little bit, but what was good from a QPR point of view was the recovery runs, bodies to get around it, but still Grant maybe could he have slipped the player on the outside to his left. Was it Reach coming in, but he decided to go for the shot. But yeah, routine save for Sene Dieng.
Dieng, wearing all lilac, clears downfield for Queen's Park Rangers, looking for Gray, but it's headed down by Chair. And Odebajo on the far side will quickly find Ball, who is a very solid presence at the heart of the Queen's Park Rangers midfield, and he'll give Stephanie Hansen more license to try and get forward and create. A long ball downfield from Rangers is headed away by Townsend, but ball quickly wins it back, and he's found Chair down the right-hand side, and he goes down again, claiming he was barged over by Mowat, and once again the referee is not interested. But here is Willock for Queen's Park Rangers, midway inside the Albion half. Has support from Ball, low in towards Chair on the half turn. He breaks towards the edge of the penalty area, left foot shot from him, never quite got hold of it, and it was gathered by Sam Johnston.
Yeah, he didn't get hold of it, but as you say, Ball's there, isn't he? Breaks things up, keeps it simple, but good turn from Chair, but easy save.
Now Dean Garner wide to the right-hand side, and Furlong, who cuts in Phil onto his left foot, back onto the right, and he tried a cheeky chip in the end, but Dieng was right behind it.
Yeah, so again, decision-making into a good position. Great, you know, of the ball of Sam Johnson. Quick attack, few seconds, right down into QPR's box. Good play. But I just think Furlong there, when he cut inside his left, could he have picked a pass? Or once he's then come back onto his right, that finish was all wrong for me. It was a very easy save. Go hard and low, try and put it through a defender's legs, and then Dieng would have had problems. But yeah, easy save. And again, for Larry Ismail, we were disappointed with the end product.
15 minutes played, West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. On TalkSport 2, 4 Premier League commentaries across the TalkSport network tomorrow. On TalkSport at 12:30, Chelsea against Manchester City at the same time. Here on TalkSport 2, Manchester United against Aston Villa, a game which is not on UK TV. Game day live on TalkSport from Watford against Newcastle with Adrian Durham. That's followed by Brentford against Liverpool at 5:30. Everton against Norwich is here on 2 at 3 o'clock. And on Sunday on TalkSport 2, a double-header of big games from the Women's Super League at 12:30. Manchester United against the reigning champions Chelsea. And then at 6:45, intriguing game between Arsenal, who have made such a good start to the season, and Manchester City, who were beaten at home by Spurs in a shock result in their previous game. West Brom with a throw-in on the far side, and following the clarion call from Jake Livermore, there is no doubt the crowd are behind their team. There's been a real buzz and real positivity off the field so far, despite the very early goal for Queen's Park Rangers, as Reach looks to chase on the far side. Naturally left-footed, of course, but it's out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah, the fans have stayed with them, because after such a bad start, you didn't know how it would be. It was still interesting now with a ball over the top that Sam Johnson ended up volleying first time, side-foot volleying, where a usual goalkeeper starting position who just ran through into his box, but turned possession over. That's again what he's asked to do.
Willock finds Barbe, long diagonal switch of play from him, looking for Gray, using his pace to try and harry Townsend, but the ball's even too quick for him on this occasion, and it will be a throw-in to West Bromwich Albion, 10 yards from the corner flag on the far side, their left. 17 minutes played, Rangers leading by a goal to nil very early on from Andre Gray. And the throw-in will be taken by Adam Reach, who could prove to be a very handy signing for West Bromwich Albion following Sheffield Wednesday's relegation. Now Phillips in full flight for the home side. Down the left-hand side, he's got support in field. It's quickly cut out by...
The 6-yard box. Smashes up towards Andre Gray, who just shoves Kyle Bartley there. The foul goes against the Jamaican. He's not having the best look in terms of winning the ball on those long balls, Andre Gray, so far. Ask against the likes of Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. Of course, men of great stature at the back. Ishmael in conversation on the sidelines, wondering how his team can get themselves back on level terms. If you've just joined us in the 20th minute now, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, QPR 1. Turned down to a first-minute goal from Andre Gray. Really, from Sam Johnston coming so far out of his goal, he made it easy for the Jamaican striker. As out to the right-hand side, it's Furlong looking to get in behind Barbie, whips it across the face of goal. Good ball from Darnell Furlong, but no one on the end of it. He's such a promising threat down that right-hand side, isn't he? Darnell Furlong just goes for it and fires it into the...
Welcome to the stream, guys. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification
and the last
bell for
line of
future
defence.
videos. Hope everyone's well. Who will be supporting tonight?
Nobody to tap home. Was getting 2 goals the other night for QPR was Charlie Austin. A striker like him for West Brom. Being the right type of striker to have in the box at that moment there to just tap home. Of course, John Hugel makes way today for Carlin Grant for the Baggies. Robinson also on the bench. Forward options. His former teammate at Sheffield United, Cian Bryan, makes his first appearance on Valerie Ishmael's bench today. See if he makes it onto the field for his first minutes in a Baggies top. As Jordan Device down the left-hand side gives the ball into Jimmy Dunn left flank. It's rather aimless, picked up easily by Semi Ajayi. Time to turn for Jake Livermore. Dian Garner back to Livermore once again. This is a few bits of control, but eventually knocks the ball to Mowat. Furlong drives inside from that right-hand side. Mowat into the feet of Phillips, picked up by Mowat again after the tackle from Device. Two with Jake Livermore. Out to the left-hand side now from Grant in towards Adam Reach. Sliding challenge from Adebayo. Looked like he went over and through the ball there. But the ball goes out for a throw-in nonetheless anyway. So West Brom will pick up the ball once again. Over on the far side, whipped in, left-footed by Adam Reach, almost reaching Dian Garner at the far post, but he has to turn quickly to keep the ball in play. Furlong's provided another run just inside. It's whipped in though by Dian Garner, left-footed, headed out by Geordie Device as Chair looks to get onto this one on the left-hand side, flicks it past Dian Garner. Ajayi comes across and covers that well, but Livermore trying to win the battle in midfield, wins 2 tackles there, and then a late one comes in from Don Ball, but it's still West Brom on the ball. Eventually Hansen picks it up and play on for QPR. Willock driving forward with the ball. Andre Gray making a run in behind. He's not quite found, and then a late challenge surely there from Alex Mowat. And the referee, I think, he's just having a word there. He's allowing quite a few tackles to fly in tonight at the Hawthorns. And no yellow cards so far in this game. It's a flying in challenge from Alex Mowat. I think he does get a slight touch on the ball, but such is the force and momentum that he collides through Chris Willock that I'm not surprised the foul was given. Willock on the right hand side now, just cuts back on his left boot, cuts the ball inside towards Adebayo to chase forward for as Bartley misreads that one. The ball just stops suddenly and he has to tow the ball away in the end. Just has to prod it out of play for a throw-in over on the far side. It's over on that far side, it's Adam Reach having to hook the ball away from a defensive position, then played down the left-hand side by the Baggies once again, cut back towards Livermore, back to Reach again, looking to come inside, but that one's blocked away, and another throw-in over on the far side. It's very tight, and QPR press up high. It's chested back in midfield, in towards Adam Reach, who just smashes that one across the field in towards Furlong, goes down the line in towards Grady Dian Garner, trying to chase that one, but Dunn's there to cover, plays it back with his weaker right boot. It's not a nice ball in towards Seni Dieng, under pressure from Dian Garner, just about gets that ball away in the end, headed forward by Bartley, picked up on that left hand side by Barbe, good interception from him. He hunts it back to Dunn along the ground, intercepted by Furlong. He started well in this game, he's picking up his performance as the Baggies look to come forward down that right hand side again and again, but he's fouled, is he? No, and then he says yes. The referee eventually, James Linington. Furlong was racing forward. It looked as though Jimmy Dunn just, he says he got the ball. I feel as though he just cramped the space of Furlong there. He played a ball forward in toward Dian Garner. He tried to receive the ball back as Dunn put a foot in. Furlong was shouldered across. Yeah, he does win the ball in the end, Jimmy Dunn, but he reaches and goes across the body of Darnell Furlong. So his first championship start. Gives away a foul in a dangerous area. You have to say for Jimmy Dunn, not an ideal position to give away a foul. Senny Dieng looks to set up his wall. Moves to his left-hand side. It's a four-man wall. Looks like at the moment there's Mowat and Furlong over this one. It looks as though it's going to be the left foot of Mowat, you would have thought. It's Jordy Device alongside Jimmy Dunn, Rob Dickey and Johan Barbe, the four centre-halves in the wall as Mowat looks to go underneath the wall. It's blocked away, comes back in towards Reach, heads forward, in towards Grant maybe, comes back towards Furlong, strikes towards goal. That one sliced and floated over the bar in the end. It was a nice idea from Furlong, a difficult technique. Mowat looking to go underneath the wall, and you have to say he's lifted it about a yard off the ground. It's not really what you call along the ground, is it? There's a few calls for an offside decision against Karlan Grant as he went to win the second header. The play was allowed to carry on. And Senny Dieng, after 25 minutes gone in this game, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, QPR 1. Independent, unofficial, off-tube, studio-based commentary coming your way. Still Coventry 0, Peterborough 0 as that goes into the last 5 minutes before half-time. Livermore back in towards Furlong now. Furlong looking to fire one forward into the channel for Matt Phillips, but it's cut out well by Jordy Device. Ball picks the ball up in midfield, eventually goes back to his goalkeeper under pressure again. And he's more than comfortable smashing that one clear, but once again Andre Gray is not able to win a header, but Bartley has to head it twice. Eventually Mowat nods it down for Semi Ajayi. Poor from Bartley, I have to say. He's playing head tennis to himself. As Jimmy Dunn puts one across his own defensive line. Dickey heads away, as does Barber. He's caught late in the air by Furlong, and no surprise that one will be a foul on the near side. .43% of the game so far has been played inside the middle third, with the other 42% coming inside the Queen's Park Rangers final third, and just 15 in the West Brom final third. So dominance in terms of territory for West Brom. They just haven't been able to hit the back of the nets so far. They've not really had a clear chance at goal, as opposed to QPR have had the one and slotted it home thanks to the right boot of Andre Gray. Ball down the left hand side for West Brom now. Connor Townsend running past Adam Reach, who just cuts back for a moment, plays it into the feet of Karlan Grant, who loses the ball under pressure from Dickey. Fired forward by Ball, up towards Andre Gray, chasing back, but Callum Bartley's there, plays it back in towards Sam Johnston, who just aimlessly in first time plays it out to the left hand side, picked up by Elias Chair, back on the front foot here. QPR whipped in towards the front post, good recovering header in there from Alex Mowat, and that was absolutely necessary from the central midfielder. Don Ball now on the right hand side, picks it back up for the R's, cuts back on his left boot, good ball inside to Adebayo, then in towards Chair, cuts back one way, then the other, good tackle from Mowat. Johansson into the knees of Willock. Eventually that ball gets steered away, but only towards Rob Dickey, out to the right hand side again, picked up at the feet of Don Ball. He's battling with Reach, and eventually the ball goes out for a throw-in over on the far side, but that was poor from Sam Johnston at the back. He just played it straight out towards Carl Bartley, thinking that he was going to drift wide into a wide centre half position to pick up the ball, but that would have been risky for him with Elias Chair on the shoulder, and so the ball did go in towards Elias Chair. So QPR can't keep the ball in from the resulting throw-in over on the far side of the field. And West Bromwich Albion throw-in it is, as Reach fires it down the left-hand side. And guess what? That one goes straight out of play again. The game has become a little bit fragmented in this one. Headed out from the back by Johansson, in towards the feet of Willock. Down the right hand side, Willock skips through a couple of men actually, in towards Mowat, tries to step over, good tackle from Connor Townsend on the cover. Swept forward in towards midfield. Is a poor ball once again by West Brom though. Johansson picks it up. 1-2 with Barbe. Back out to the left-hand side. He thought that Chair was running in behind Ajayi, but not to be. Johnston this time gets his distribution correct, although Ajayi's pass is not the greatest down the right-hand side, nor is his second pass as the ball came back to him. Back here from Chair in towards Barbe, trying to get past Diangana. Back heel from Barbe, comes off. Diangana last does it, goes for a throw-in, taken quickly. Ajayi was calling for that ball to be given to his side. And eventually Furlong had to chase back and knock that one out of play for another throw. Poor really from Ajayi not playing to the whistle. Just expecting that the decision would go his way when it didn't. Throw in on the left-hand side then for QPR eventually will be taken as Diangana rolls the ball back in towards Barbe as eventually the ball comes out of the crowd. Just rolls that one back to a ball boy on the near side as Barbe looking to take this throw in. Dunn comes short, as does Chair for a moment, then Willock still not taken here. In towards the chest of Chair, tries to chest it back out towards the flank, won twice by Livermore, smashed clear down the left hand side by Adebayo. Has to turn towards his own goal and play it left footed back in towards Seny Dieng on the edge of his own box. To the left hand side now, in towards Jordi Device. Back to Dieng, back to Device. Pressed by Diangana, but not pressed enough that he can't control the ball, turn and swivel, and eventually play a long ball down the left-hand side up towards Gray. He's offside, so allows Bartley to head out from the back. Chair. Oh, what a ball from Chair. That was almost beautiful in terms of the connection between him and Andre Gray. It just came out of nowhere from Chair, then into the channel on the left-hand side, outside of the right boot, just curled it round. I don't think Andre Gray was expecting it there. Barbe fired into the feet of Gray, turns it around the corner. Willock's not quite chasing that one. It goes back to Sam Johnston. Johnston can pick up the ball on the edge of his own box now. It's over half an hour played, and you have to say the opening 15 minutes were better than the latest 17 or so. Of course, we had that early goal, but we had Diangana who found himself in space on the right flank or in the right channel a couple of times and fluffed his lines when it came to the final third. I'm sure that Valérien Ismaël will be looking on thinking we need to create more in this game if we're going to get something from it, as their ball is headed down the left-hand side for West Brom. Rob Dickie makes a meal of it, but eventually says that's clean up on aisle 12 as he knocks the ball off Carlan Grant in the end. Out for a throw-in over on the far side. They've not really done enough so far in this game, West Brom, to get back level or even jump back ahead in this one. QPR, they've of course got that early goal through Andre Gray, but since then they've held strong at the back and kept winning things in the second ball when they can. Just making sure of everything at the back. They're not really putting themselves under too much pressure as Rob Dickie just finds that one out for a throw-in on the far side, and Connor Townsend just takes a short throw into the it's reach in towards Townsend, back to reach once again, cuts that one back left-footed, it's into a good area. Clearance from Barbe though in the end. Ajayi trying to win a header forward. Furlong it is in towards Matt Phillips, turns on the edge of the box in towards Mowat, swept towards the right-hand side, good ball, Furlong in behind, and somehow Barbe gets that one clear. It was lovely football from West Bromwich Albion there. A great ball over the top from Alex Mowat in towards Furlong. Couldn't quite control it in the end. If he had, he could have just tapped the ball inside and Diangana was there through on goal, ready to shoot, or he could have gone himself. It was a beautiful ball from Mowat. First time, knew exactly what he was doing. Barbe missed it, and the cutback from Furlong was poor. I think he's rather gone to control it, or he's been caught in two minds in the end, and it's been cut back straight off Barbe. And the touch accidentally goes back to his goalkeeper, so Seny Dieng just picked the ball up, and rightly so. Furlong has been the outlet so far for West Brom down this right. Adam Reach not had too much success on the left, but Furlong keeps getting in behind. Part of that is thanks to the runs of Grady Diangana, who's dragging the defenders away as Phillips this time on the right-hand side, cuts it back towards the penalty spot. Header goal! Dieng Garner, sorry. It's a run from Reach, I think, on the left-hand side, and Dieng is strong there and palms the ball away. It did rather go straight at him as Mowat goes straight over the top of the ball. Johansson whips it to the right-hand side. Gray's chasing for that one. And Sam Johnston comes out to gather and throw away down that left-hand side. But what a chance it was inside the box there for Alex Mowat, I think it was, from the head. A lovely cut back on the right-hand side from Phillips. And the chances are starting to come here for West Brom. It's a good save from Seny Dieng, but you'd expect him to make it. It's the first time we've seen Phillips really on the flank, and he cut it back beautifully. Sorry, it was Adam Reach in off the left flank. Adebayo didn't really track him, and Reach has just ended up heading the ball straight down the middle of the goal. He's got to do better with that one. The former Sheffield Wednesday man. He's known for scoring some absolute wonder goals, Adam Reach, but he's headed it straight at Seny Dieng, who was, to be quite fair, was almost falling over his own line there, Seny Dieng. But if it got either way of him, he had no chance of reacting one way or the other to knock that ball away. The ball is out for a throw-in on the right-hand side now as Darnell Furlong grabs the ball for another long throw. A second one of the game, fired towards the front post, headed out well though by QPR. Second ball picked up by QPR man, as is the third ball. Chair fires it into the air. Karlan Grant jumps early and well, knocks it back in towards Mowat, tries to flick it forward as Johansson puts a foot in, and again from Johansson in towards Chair now. Ball forward in towards Gray on the left-hand side. Good pace from Gray to get in behind Connor Townsend. Can he have a good composure to cut back here? Goes on his left foot outside of the defender, and Johnston covers across to grab that one with two hands. It looked as though Gray looked to just try and control it and accidentally touched it down on his left-hand side, which meant he had to go for it and try and react, but it was good initial pace from Gray. Townsend covered well, so he couldn't really cut in on his right foot because Furlong was there as well as Townsend. But in the end, Gray's touch wasn't the greatest, but good ball from Chair straight through the middle of the park. Incidentally, it's half-time in the game between Coventry and Peterborough. And it's still level between those two at the Coventry Building Society Arena. It's another game across the Midlands this evening in the Championship. Coventry currently second in the league with West Brom fourth. As Reach on the left-hand side looking to go past Dickey, tries to whip that one in. It's blocked by the QPR defender. Around about 8 or so minutes to go in this first half plus added time. West Brom starting to ramp things up, build the pressure to try and get level in this game. West Bromwich Albion 0, QPR 1. Independent, unofficial, off-tube studio commentary-based, the studio-based commentary coming your way. There's Reach on the left-hand side, looking to go down the line. He does it towards the overlapping Townsend. Grant comes short, but he's pressed and tracked by Adebayo. Inside it comes to Mowat, plays it into the feet of Grant now. As Grant tries to flick it around the corner, it's poor, it's given away. Dickey into the feet of Ball, swept forward by Dickey once again, and that one is too wide. The last Chair was inside of that one, so it's gone straight out for a throw-in. Thrown back in towards Ajayi. Ajayi stepping forward with the ball, a couple of runs in behind, one down the right-hand side from Darnell Furlong, once again trying to keep this one in, slides, trying to cross it first time. That one is sliced a little bit. Just goes straight into the grateful hands of Seny Dieng. He rolls the ball out to the left-hand side into Jimmy Dunn. First start in the Championship this evening for him, the 23-year-old Irishman. Darnell Furlong heads it forward, it comes down in towards Ball, battling with Matt Phillips out to the left-hand side. It comes onto with Jimmy Dunn, plays it down the left-hand side, expecting a run. Absolutely nobody there for Jimmy Dunn. And Sam Johnston comes about 35 yards out from his goal. Wide on the right-hand side here, just looks to launch it long. Does so in towards Phillips, tries to flick that one on. It's not the greatest of headers, and guess what? He's also offside. That's frustrating for the Baggies fans inside the Hawthorns, as their glum faces are there for all to see on the pictures that I'm seeing. Not the finest half in front of goal from West Bromwich Albion, but as I see a replay of the opening goal of the game, As Bartley tried to play offside, Semi Ajayi didn't. Adebayo played the ball down the right hand side. Sam Johnston came well out from his goal. And no surprise, some of the Baggies fans get to their feet saying, "What are you doing, Sam Johnston? You made it so easy for Andre Gray there." Good ball from down the right hand side though from Adebayo it was. But it was 2 errors really, wasn't it? It was miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi, one going, one staying. That played Andre Gray on the right hand side, and then Sam Johnston coming out was the calamity to end all calamities, you have to say. It made it so easy for QPR, who haven't picked up a win in 4 games in the Championship, looking to do so today to get back in some form. As mentioned pre-kick-off, they beat Everton in the League Cup, the Carabao Cup, 8-7 on penalties that one was, after Charlie Austin's 2 goals. Looking to bring that momentum into this game as Dean Garner looking down the left-hand side. It looked like Phillips was in there as Dickey hit. Towards the front post, headed out the air easily by Jimmy. So as a ball up forward towards Matt Phillips, well taken on the first time control, up against Jordy Device now, wide on the right hand side, whips it in front post, battling for that one's Dean Garner. Good header away though from Jimmy Dunn, I think it was at the far post, or was it Rob Dickey? Dean Garner looking to make a striker's run in towards that front post, but Dickey was there to stoop towards the ball and nod it away for a West Bromwich Albion corner. I have to say though, Phillips is playing in a central role this evening. I'd like to see Carl and Grant go up there, Dean Garner go to the left and Phillips on the right, because every time Phillips finds himself wide on the right, he's instantly looking to whip that ball in right-footed, and the combination between him and Furlong could be really dangerous for that QPR backline. It's created a couple of the chances so far. Matt Phillips, who outswings the corner, right-footed, headed out. First header was won by Rob Dickey. Mowat out to the left now. Carl and Grant stands it up towards the far post. Furlong's reaching for that one. He stretched his head as far away as he could. His neck was extended like an Inspector Gadget arm, but it wasn't quite long enough. In the end, he's just reached towards it. Oh, I tell you what, just looking at our replay there, he's tripped Moses Adebayo on purpose there. He's put his foot right across Adebayo, knocked him to the ground, and then in having to run around Adebayo is why he's not been able to reach the ball in the end. So I think he would have been rather fortunate for that goal to have countered should he have put it into the back of the net, but in the end he just put it wide for a goal kick. So battle for the play in the middle of the park. Chair plays it back down the left hand side. It's a long one down the left and towards Chris Willock, but that one is offside. So there's the official over on the far side of the field. Little over a minute to go in the first half. And Ajayi across the field into Townsend, runs past Gray and has a chance to play it out to Reach on the left-hand side. Down the line he goes in towards Grant, back towards Townsend. Pressed all the way by Adebayo, turn around the corner. Carlin Grant does well to skip past 2 tackles there, and eventually the second one is going to be penalised. A sliding challenge from Don Ball, Ball being spoken to by the referee, but it was similar to a challenge earlier on in the centre circle from Alex Mowat, actually, and neither one has been penalised with the yellow card. The referee, James Lannington, allowing a lot to go in this one. And a free kick in a dangerous position right at the end of the first half here for West Brom. Alex Mowat will be the man over this one. Left-footed ball surely to come in. I would have thought he'll aim for that spot between, well, that gap between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. A high line from QPR here, right on the edge of their own 18-yard box. As Mowat eventually whips it in towards that penalty spot. A header comes in from Rob Dickey, drops in towards Diangana, controls it rather than shooting first time. Out on the right-hand side he goes, hooked it back towards the far post. Nobody in there in a blue and white striped shirt to try and steer that one on target at the far post. 1 minute of added time to be at the first half at the Hawthorns, as it's picked up by Johansson. He plays it back towards Dickey, and surely somebody had to be coming in at the back post there for the Albion. Not to be. So a ball aimlessly played down the left-hand side for West Brom. It's cleared away by Rob Dickey, headed forward down the left by Reach, as Mowat can't win it. As eventually he steps in there and does win it with Diangana. 15 seconds to go in this first half. Can West Brom get themselves level before the half-time whistle goes? Ajayi out to the right-hand side in towards Furlong, looking for a run of Diangana maybe. Looks for the early cross. It's deflected off the back of Johan Barbie and cleared left-footed on the volley by Johansson. Won by Gray in the centre circle. Foul goes against Kyle Bartley. Too tight to Andre Gray there, who controlled the ball first time. Protest led by Kyle Bartley to the referee. Gray got a good piece of control on that one, and with that free kick in the centre circle, that is the end of the first half, says referee James Lannington. A dominant performance from West Brom in terms of possession and territory, but the way the cookie crumbles is that they made too many mistakes in the first minute, and Andre Gray took the advantage. It's after 45 minutes, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Park Rangers 1, a first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Carl Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. After 45 minutes at the Hawthorns, it's West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A first-minute goal for Andre Gray. A ball down the right-hand side from Moses Adebayo. Miscommunication between Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi. One stayed, one went. Onside was Andre Gray, and the Jamaican slotted the ball easily past Sam Johnson, who also made a mistake by rushing out well outside of his own box. West Brom tried to get back into it, but not really had a strike at goal. It's West Brom 0, QPR 1. Well, we're almost back underway in the second half at the Hawthorns as the referee does blow the whistle for the second half, and QPR get us underway in this second 45 minutes. A 45 first minutes that were really dominated by West Bromwich Albion in terms of territory, but they didn't create too many open chances, and the one chance that QPR got themselves, Andre Gray stuck into the back of the net. A poor piece of play early in the first half. In the first minute, in fact, after 45 seconds it was that the Jamaican hit the back of the net. Sam Johnston coming out well outside of his own box, poor from him, and the miscommunication from Kyle Bartley and Semi Ajayi at the back. But a quick start here from West Brom, down the right-hand side, cross from the right-hand side from Phillips. That one's blocked by Seni Dieng, and it looks as though there's potentially been a goal, has there, in the other game in the Championship, and they have, and it's Coventry City who have taken the lead in that one after 57 minutes. That one a key scoreline for West Brom and QPR. Of course, a team in second currently in the Championship. They're doing fantastic this season, aren't they? Coventry City. And with that 3 points, they will solidify their position towards the top of the table. Before today, they were in second. But with that being a win, if they do see it out, then they will jump ahead of Bournemouth at the top of the table. As for West Brom and QPR will go just 1 point behind the Baggies with a win against them tonight. There's been no changes, has there in the second half? I don't think so. I'll just confirm that one. No, there's been no changes in the second half. So the two-team lineups are the same and as follows. For West Brom, Sam Johnston between the sticks, back five of Furlong, Ajayi, Bartley, Townsend and Reach. Livermore and Mowat are the two in midfield. There's a break off as Gray almost gets in behind. Johnston has to rush out quickly and almost kung fu kick that one out of the way. And up top for West Brom, there's Grant, Diangana and Matt Phillips. As for QPR, it's Dieng between the sticks, also a back five of Adebayo, Dickey, Device, Dunn and Barbie. In midfield, it's Don Ball and Stefan Johansson, and then Elias Chair and Chris Willock supporting Andre Gray up top. They're looking to go in behind the West Brom defence as much as possible so far in this game with long balls. But it's not quite stuck for the Jamaican up front, apart from that first ball in the first minute for QPR. Jimmy Dunn just on the ground, just taking a knock here. And his first start in the Championship was about to get picked up by Jordy Device, but he's taking his time. It was a run down the left-hand side where he tried to cut inside of Jake Livermore, who went in for the tackle, and Jimmy Dunn, you have to say, was rather inagile there and just ran straight into the big West Bromwich Albion midfielder. No foul, just coming together between Dunn and Livermore, and Coventry have taken a 2-goal advantage now. The first goal was Gustavo Hamer for Coventry. Confirmation as to who the second goal is for, but that's a 2-0 lead now at home against Peterborough. As into the centre circle, West Brom go into Livermore. Has to turn quickly, plays it into the feet of Matt Phillips, pressured all the way by Jordy Device. Plays it out to the right-hand side into Diangana now. Furlong's even wider here for him, but he goes into the channel in towards Carlan Grant, switching wings. Back to Furlong, back to Grant. Looking to go back to Diangana now. Cuts on his left foot, maybe looking for a deep cross in. He does towards the penalty spot. That one's in behind Phillips. And also in behind Mowat, who found himself inside the box there in the end, but it bounces all the way through to Seny Dieng. It was really the right-hand side of the field for West Brom that found themselves in. Number of times, but really couldn't get themselves a clean strike on goal to trouble Seny Dieng. It's Victor Gyökeres who's picked up the second goal, the Swede for Coventry. But on the right hand side, it was Furlong who found himself in behind quite a number of times, but it just quite wasn't the final ball that was working for West Brom. Diangana found himself in a brilliant position on one occasion and ended up trying to slice at the ball, and did just that, and sliced it well wide of the QPR goal as they look to break down the right-hand side. Now Adebayo picking up some pace down that right, but it's intercepted by Reach now into the feet of Carlan Grant. Will cut inside. Willie No goes back outside. A good foot in there from Don Ball. Then Dickey has to slide in. He does well there. Rob Dickey to stop Diangana getting on. As Mowat goes over to the far side of the field, left-footed ball in swing, and it comes towards the front post, headed out by Dickey once again. Although they've got the most corner goals level with Huddersfield Town so far this season, West Brom, they've not really challenged QPR from set. Good team attacking. Bending from them as well. Often means you've got a lot of height and a lot of players that like to win both first and second contact inside those 18-yard boxes. So they've rather cancelled each other out tonight, West Brom and QPR. As Stefan Johansson goes back in towards Jimmy Dunn, smashes it long. And really unchallenged from Andre Gray. Was hoping that Connor Townsend miscontrolled that one, but he brought it down beautifully, did Townsend there. Chipped down the right-hand side by West Brom, looking for Matt Phillips to chase after it. comes to nothing in the end for both West Brom and QPR down the right-hand side. Eventually the ball will be played back here to Carl Bartley. I think there was an offside given against Queen's Park Rangers. That's into the feet of Bartley once again. Runs forward with the ball into Matt Phillips. He's taken down on the ball by Jordy Device as he laid it off, but play on for now. Livermore out to the left into Townsend, out wide to Grant. Grant inside to Mowat now. Looking busy on the ball, left foot, plays it out to Reach. First time ball coming in towards the front post, flicked by Dean Garner, blocked by Jordy Device. Good solid defending there from the QPR man who's playing in the middle of the centre halves. The Dutch centre half looking strong there as Dean Garner looked to flick on goal. And it looks as though Coventry have absolutely sealed that game against Peterborough now. 2/3 in, and Victor Gyökeres has picked up his second goal in that one. What a fine run of form he's on. Picked up a goal against Millwall, picked up one against Cardiff and against Coventry, Middlesbrough, sorry, with an assist in that game as well. So that's 5 goals in 4 games plus an assist for the Swede. He's in some brilliant form this season. That makes it 7 goals all told this season with 2 assists in the Championship. What a fine season the 23-year-old attacker's having, as Gray looks to try and get in behind the West Brom defence here. I think an offside flag has eventually come up there. West Brom playing a good line on this occasion. As it, to no surprise, looks as though the first changes of the game are going to come here, and even less of a surprise that it's going to be West Brom who are going to make those changes. Callum Robinson is the first one of those changes to come onto the field. They need some impetus up front, don't they? West Bromwich Albion to get back into this game, and it looks as though the man who came in for today's game, is it? No, it's not Carlan Grant, it's Matt Phillips who's going to make way. So Phillips for Robinson, and Jordan Hugel is also going to come on, and he's going to come on for Grady D and Garner. So 2 attacking players on for West Brom. Hugel, the man who made way for Carlan Grant in this game. Grant has stayed on the field, so Grant and Robinson, you would have thought that would go either side of Hugel. Am I surprised? I suppose I am slightly surprised that Valérien Ismaël hasn't slightly changed formation and gone for it, but that may come later in the game. Of course, Furlong on the right fullback position at the moment is the man who keeps getting forward down the flanks. Reach, of course, on the left as well. But, it may be a case that eventually Valérien Ismaël decides to absolutely go for this one and just leave the defenders back there and push Reach and Furlong right out to the flanks, and then Robinson and Grant can play in more central positions alongside Hugel. As Livermore looks to play a ball in behind towards Hugel there, and the offside flag does come up in the end. Seny Dieng plays it short in towards Dickey down the right-hand side. He goes into Adebayo. He's blocked all the way by Reach, who's pressing him high, as is Jordan Hugel on Rob Dickey, who smashes the ball into the Knights' West Midlands sky. As Connor Townsend nods it forward towards Callum Robinson. Won by Willock, back in towards Johansson, out to the left-hand side. Dunn down that left into Barbe. Robinson the furthest up the press. Chair around the corner in towards Willock, trying to hold on to that one. Ajayi battling through numerous men there, does well. Semi Ajayi, 1-2 between Robinson and Grant. Eventually stepping in there is Don Ball, as is Mowat, but Jordy Device races out from the back with the ball at his feet. Gives it towards Willock. Bursts through a little pocket in the West Brom defence. Andre Gray had already gone. And eventually he has to try and slow down there at Willock. Hugel yet to get his first goal in a West Brom shirt, but I'm sure that Valérien Ismaël will be absolutely desperate for him to pick up one in this game. As now he's come onto the field as Reach smashes the ball down the left-hand side. Good knockdown from Hugel actually to turn the corner as well against Jordy Device, running up against the Dutch centre-half. Just runs over the ball on purpose and just check back for a moment. Lays it back in towards Adam Reach on that left foot of his. Has he got a chance to whip one in? Grant's the short option. Tries to whip it towards the far post. That one's deflected, just about goes over the bar. But nice impetus, nice work from the substitute Jordan Hugel. Already making an impact in this game. Good hold at work, and then he turned quickly with some good pace against Jordy Device. Fancied himself against the Dutch centre-half, and once again it's dominance in terms of the final third for West Bromwich Albion inside the QPR final third. Attempted ball from Adam Reach was blocked in the end, but won't matter too much if they can pick something up from this corner. But with all the height in the QPR team, not only the centre-halves, but Don Ball and Johansson are tall in the centre of midfield, and Johansson's the man who's picked up the ball in the end and cleared it right-footed. Now it just has to turn. Eventually Willock's in there battling with, I think that's Jake Livermore at the back, and a foul goes against Livermore. Willock, the QPR man, wins the foul against the West Bromwich Albion skipper. That back line, of course, for QPR with the likes of Device, Dickey, Barbie, Dunn and Ball. They do have some height in their side, and it's proving its worth against the set pieces of West Bromwich Albion this evening. They've not really even been able to do much from their long throw-ins either, West Brom, so far. Robertson chats to his team on the sidelines, wondering what to do next for their team, just to release some of this pressure potentially. Out to the left-hand side it goes for West Brom. Adebayo turns that one away and chases after it once again and picks it up, lobs it over the head of Karlan Grant into the feet of Don Ball, battling with two West Brom players. Eventually hooks the ball away down the right-hand side, but that one's easily intercepted. Out the back by Connor Townsend. In steps Callum Robinson. Fired to Reach. Knocked inside to Mowat. Oh, I tell you what, that Grant could have left that one to the on-running Robinson, but still Grant on the ball, looking to the right-hand side, just toes it away rather aimlessly in the end, and an offside will go against Furlong. Over on the far side of the field, it looked as though he may have picked up a free kick against Johan Barbet, but in the end, it turned out that he was offside and starting in an offside position, but it was Karlan Grant, you had to say, really slowed down that attack there. He could have let the ball go through his legs, instead slowed things down, cooked on his right foot. It was a really poor ball in the end. And only scored one goal in his last 27 appearances. When he first arrived at Huddersfield Town in the Premier League, he looked as though he was the man for them. And let him go to West Brom, and he's been less than prolific, you have to say. He's moulded from what was a player that could play up front and on the left wing as well as attacking midfield. He's not really got a position. Maybe it suits him being off the striker, but he needs to contribute more as Chair whips it in from the right-hand side. Ajayi gets his head on the ball and Willock slips. Willock was in there over on the far side of the field, and he just slipped at the vital moment. Ball back with Johansson. He scuffs his pass as well. Mowat steps across, plays it in towards Robinson. Maybe advantage played. No advantage, no foul. Adebayo running forward. Left foot strike, a goal! Good save from Sam Johnston. Steers it away from the goal and out for a corner kick. It was a good strike from Adebayo on his weaker left foot. Maybe there should have been a foul for Alex Mowat just before, but first sting at Sam Johnston's goal in this second half, and it comes from Adebayo. Adebayo doing really well there to drive inside from that right full-back position, struck it at goal. It was rather central. You would expect Johnston to save it, but he had to do the job. With the right hand over his body, he was able to knock it away for a corner. Elias Chair is going to be the man to take the set piece. Jordy Device runs towards the front post, as does Rob Dickey now. Outswinging right foot of corner, well headed away by Semi Ajayi. It's not going to happen today, is it, from set pieces for either of these two sides? Sorry. West Brom well set up from the back as well. It's Furlong, Ajayi, Bartley, Townsend, Livermore, and Matt Phillips, of course, who was on. Callum Robinson and Hugel now both on. They're so capable in the air. So Hugel looks to put a ball in behind towards Robinson. It's steered away by Dickey, but it comes back in towards Mauer. Early cross comes in towards Hugel. Header goes wide of the mark. He slightly overran that one, puts a thumbs up to Alex Mowat, and I'm not surprised. It was a good ball from the midfielder with his left boot towards the penalty spot. Hugill was running onto it, but couldn't steer his header on goal. As I say, slightly overran it, meant the ball was slightly behind him. And a goal kick for Seny Dieng. Those 3 goals and 3 points for Coventry City will seal them at the top of the championship. There's still 15 minutes to go in the game, but you fancy them to see that one out against the Posh. Strike first time as QPR look to break now, excuse me. As Willock drives forward into Ball. Tackle comes in from Livermore. No foul, says the referee, much to the dismay of Dominic Ball. Livermore to the left. Swept forward into Grant. Grant driving forward out to the left-hand side. In towards Townsend, asking for a runner. That runner never came and he had to go backwards in towards Reach. Mowat now looking forward, and the referee has blown his whistle here and called for a foul to Queen's Park Rangers. Jordan Hugill is going to be had a word with here with the referee, as is Jimmy Dunn, but I think the foul is going to go to Jimmy Dunn. Jake Livermore has come across now to not necessarily break up the play, but to just speed things up. It was a bit of a shirt wrestling shoving match on the edge of the box. It ended up with Jimmy Dunn on the ground, and yeah, just seeing the replay there, rightly so, good spot for the referee as well. It was over his right shoulder in his blind spot, but correct decision for me. The whole time Jordan Hugill is holding on to Jimmy Dunn's shirt and wrestling him around and ragging him from one side to the other and putting the defender off balance, maybe looking for that early cross to come in. It's really sloppy work from Jordan Hugill there, has to do better. There's QPR out over on the far side of the field. Chair can't quite find Willock. It's swept out of play for a QPR throw over on the far side. As it looks as though QPR are going to make their first change of the game here. It looks as though it's going to be Lyndon Dykes to come onto the field. That's not too much of a surprise. They could do so with somebody upfield to hold things up. The Scotland striker is well adept to be doing that. Whether it's a like-for-like swap with Andre Gray, we will see. But the goal scorer is the only man that separates the two sides today, and lots of glum faces around the Hawthorns this evening. They've gone 3 draws back-to-back of the West Brom fans, and now they are seeing their team in a deficit. Their last win came against Peterborough. They won 1-0 away from home. Before that, they won at Blackburn. Then there was Sheffield United. Then there was Luton, and they drew with Bournemouth, who are also, of course, pushing. That was the first game of the season, of course, pushing for promotion to the Premier League this season. Back to the Premier League, I should say, but it's not quite being West Brom's evening, and they really, really won't want to pick up a first loss of the season at home against fellow playoff challengers. Townsend now chipping it forward in towards Hugill, tries to lay that one off towards Grant. It's poor work, you have to say, from Hugill, just knocks it well away from Grant. Eventually Townsend has to cover across. And you just wonder, maybe Valérien Ismaël potentially took off one of the incorrect strikers. He, of course, brought off Grady Diangana and Matt Phillips, but Carlin Grant has been poor since the substitutes came on. And the changes are going to come here for Queen's Park Rangers. First one is Chris Willock for Lyndon Dykes. And the Scotland international comes on in what is the 66th minute of the game. And for now, that is the only change that's going to come on for QPR. It looks as though they may have been getting somebody else ready, but we will see. He's 17 goals in his 51 games for Queen's Park Rangers. Lyndon Dykes, last goal came against Coventry in a 2-0 win. Now that looks like a fine result against Coventry, doesn't it? They way Coventry have started their season already with tonight's game. And tonight's 3 points, Coventry sitting top of the table. If they'd picked up some points against QPR, they'd be even further ahead of Bournemouth, as Moses Adebayo picks up a foul in the middle of the park. And Stefan Johansson is the man that will stand over this one, plays it short into Elias Chair. 2/3 of the game gone in this one. Myself, Matt Guy, bringing you the independent, unofficial, after studio-based commentary of West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. A goal in the first minute for Andre Gray and QPR. Mistakes all around at the back for West Brom. Not what they wanted. They were unbeaten coming into this game, West Brom. They'll have to do something better than they've done so far this evening if they're going to pick up anything in this game. They've got to the edge of the QPR box, but just not looked like scoring at any point, really. Best chance they've had probably came to Adam Reach. A good ball from the right-hand side from Matt Phillips into Adam Reach, who was cutting inside off that left wing, header forward. Got it straight at Seny Dieng. The Senegalese kept the ball out easily, you have to say. Either side of him, it's a goal. And it's 1-1, and then West Brom on the front foot. You fancy them in that position. They'll still fancy their chances at picking up something in this game, West Brom. As QPR have the throwing down the right-hand side. They still hang on to the ball now. Out to the left it goes. Jimmy Dunn down the right-hand side. Played down the line by Barbe. Back in towards Dunn, looking inside. Tries to go past Semi Ajayi. He crosses the ball. It deflects off Ajayi. Livermore picks up. Goes back inside. In towards Furlong. Chipped down the right-hand side by Ajayi in towards Robinson. That one goes out of play though. And I have to say, the more this game has gone on, the quieter that Darnell Furlong has gotten. That has been a reflection of West Brom's evening, you have to say. He's been one of the more dangerous players for Albion tonight. So referee's getting a little frustrated in this game. He's having a word with the QPR man on the far side of the field, saying you need to get back to where you were taking the throw in from, rather than walking 10 yards down the line and then try to take it. That looked like a foul throw as well to me, as Lyndon Dykes flicked the ball on off the ground. It looked as though it was thrown down into the turf. As Hugo puts in a challenge, the ball goes firing forward towards Lyndon Dykes, and Sam Johnston comes out and grabs that one and bowls it out to the left-hand side. Quick play in towards Adam Reach, looking for a 1-2 maybe. Tackle comes in on the right-hand side by Dickey. Is that going to be a foul? Yes, it is. He's furious with that one, but it looked like the right decision to me. It looked as though it was laid off by the West Brom man on the left-hand side. And Dickey just ended up just bumping into him, and the West Brom man invited all the contact. Once again, the referee's having to tell the players to take the foul or take the stoppage exactly where it should be taken. Pushes West Brom back for the moment. Townsend drives forward with the ball, easily gets past Chair. Poor work from him, but Townsend still going forward. Eventually squirts the ball out to the left-hand side and towards Reach. Out to his left foot he goes, but Adebayo watches that one. Good ball in from Townsend. Jordy Device heads that one away. Headed forward by Dykes as well. Picked up front by Gray, then flicked on by Elias Chair, looking dangerous here at QPR, but Semi Ajayi as well to come across. He's a towering figure, isn't he, the centre half? And it looks as though Jordy Device has just gone down with maybe an injury or cramp here on his right boot. It looks as though he's being treated for cramp, whether it's the standard one where you see the goalkeeper come across and lift his boot into the air whilst he's laid down on the ground and push into it. Bit of calf cramp maybe a bit of ankle mobility issues. It's a good moment for the game to stop, and plenty of players coming to the sidelines for both refreshments and a word with their coaching staff. Just get some tips on how to improve come the final 20 minutes of this game. The referee's ready to get the game on. Eventually the players make their way back to their positions. Throw in on the near side for Moses Adebayo. Jordy Device back to his feet in the back line for QPR, and okay to continue. Adebayo down the right, looking to go in behind, does so in a good ball in towards Lyndon Dykes, stands it back in towards the box. It's well watched out there by Darnell Furlong. Needed a shout there, get some jeers from the travelling QPR fans in the Hawthorns ground. I'm not surprised as well. Could have done with a shout to just chest that one down, potentially to his goalkeeper, maybe even Kyle Bartley, who was there. Instead, just headed it straight out for a corner. I know he'll back his team to defend the corner, but it puts yourself under a little bit more pressure that was unneeded, really. You could have seen the ball out. Rob Dickey hands in the air, already device up there with Jimmy Dunn and Lyndon Dykes. As Carlin Grant and these West Bromwich Albion defenders look to hold position here. Good ball in from Elias Chair in towards the 6-yard box. It's a good header out, though. I think it's Carl Bartley that's risen highest there. Just gets a flick on the ball. There were a couple of men in behind him. Just telling his goalkeeper to keep up the communication there. Carl Bartley, very experienced defender at the back, as Stefan Johansson now comes out to the near side to take the corner. Given that it's him, you expect it to be a left-footed in-swinging corner from this side. QPR opting for the in-swingers, getting some jeers from the home fans at the near side of the field. Hansen whips it in towards the far post. Rising highest is Rob Dickey, but he can't quite get a good connection on that one, and Carlin Grant hooks it clear. Robinson battling for the second ball against Elias Chair, who does well to spin quickly, knocks the ball down for himself, dribbles forward, gets past Ajayi. He's in behind the defence here on the left hand side, looks to shoot across goal. Good save from Sam Johnson, but a brilliant run from Elias Chair, that is. As it's bowled out by Sam Johnston. Mowat plays it down the left-hand side. Carlan Grant's running for that one. He's in behind as well on the left-hand side. Looks to fire it towards the front post, blocked away by Jimmy Dunn. And a quick switch in play. Elias Chair down one end, Carlan Grant down the other one, and the corner kick now for West Brom. But lovely work from Elias Chair. He was the furthest man back. It looked as though West Brom were in. He skips past Semi Ajayi on the left-hand side. Maybe should have crossed it towards the far post. Lyndon Dykes was trying to get in there. I think he's trying to shoot across goal, and he's not quite caught it as clean as he wanted to. I think he wanted to go across goal so that if the goalkeeper spilled it, it would have fallen at the feet of Lyndon Dykes, but in the end it was just straight at Johnston, who could catch the ball easily. Furlong's the man who's going to be crossing this one in now. In swinging corner kick in towards the 6-yard box. It's flicked on! That one goes wide of the post. Over on the far side, it was Jordan Hugel battling in there with Geordie Device, and I think Rob Dickey, and all three of them end up on the turf. Not 100% sure who got the touch as Rob Dickey goes down, holding his lower right back now. He's lifted to his feet by his centre-half partners in Geordie Device and Jimmy Dunn. West Bromwich Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. But as in the first half, it's coming towards the final 15 minutes, and West Brom are starting to pick things up. But as I say that, Lyndon Dykes flicks one on in towards Andre Gray. Continues play, says the official on the near side. He's not offside, and it's smashed off his own player. Defender there, it's Jake Livermore. And eventually the ball comes back in towards Sam Johnston. It was a question of offside as whether Gray went too early for the Lyndon Dykes flick on. But West Brom in the end saw the set out anyway. Ajayi now running down the right-hand side, pressured all the way by Lyndon Dykes. Good tracking work by the Scotland striker, who's gone out to the left-hand side for the moment. Andre Gray's the man up top. As Townsend looking to get past Odebayo. Good ball forward, laid off in towards Robinson. Back towards Reach, who's found himself in an advanced position, but Grant on the left-hand side fires a goal! He's dropped by the goalkeeper, it's in the back of the net! He's put it into his own net, Senny Dieng, and it's level for West Brom. It's Carlan Grant, the man I was criticising earlier. He's done well to strike at goal, but that one really shouldn't be going into the back of the net there. It's fired forward, left-footed by Carlan Grant. It's not the cleanest of strikes, it's not the best of strikes. It's in the corner or towards the corner, but it's the near post. The Senegalese goalkeeper's got to do better. But good work from Reach, good work by Robinson. Grant found himself in space, just struck it as clean as he could. It was okay, it looked as though Dieng had caught that one, and he parried it about a yard in front of himself, or so he thought. And I think he panicked that the ball was going to spill. And in the end, has tried to catch the ball himself and has put it into his own net. I'll be surprised. Oh, well, no, I won't be surprised, but we'll have to see if that one's given us an own goal against Senny Dieng. It's poor from the QPR goalkeeper. He has to do better with that one. And the game is level now, and you fancy West Bromwich Albion. All the momentum is with them. QPR really up against it now. Those West Brom changes have really worked as well. And now West Brom, who like to have so many shots on goal, are looking to burst forward once again, reaching towards Robinson, strikes a goal. That one's just wide. He's gone for the top right-hand corner with his left boot, and he's just dragged it wide of the goal. Another great chance for West Brom. As I say, they're on the front foot now. They're full of confidence now. It just needed that first goal to just break the tension in the home fans, and once that happened, you felt that they really could go on the front foot and put QPR into some real pressure. And now it's real concerning moments for Mark Warburton and his QPR side, and no surprise he's going to make a change here just to break things up, really, you would have thought. Second change for QPR, and it looks as though it's going to be Jordi Device is going to come off for Osman Kakai. It looks as though Stefan Johansson is struggling with a little bit of an injury as well now. But Kakai coming on. He's a right back more than anything else. It looks as though another change is going to come here, and it's probably Andre Dozel who's going to come on. So we'll see how these changes, if they affect the QPR system or who's playing where. Andre Dozel definitely ready to come onto the field, but just waiting for the moment for Stefan Johansson to make his way off, given that he's the one that's picked up the injury. So you expect that one to just be a like-for-like change in the centre of the park. And with regard to Jordi Device, you would have thought that will now be a back three of Dunn, Barbe and Dickey, as that change is confirmed now, with Johansson coming off for Andre Dozel. And then Osman Kakai might go to left full-back, or Odebayo, and the other, yes, it looks as though Odebayo has gone to the left-hand side, and Kakai is on the right-hand side, maybe. Let's just double-check that one. No, I think Kakai is playing in a right-centre half role, actually. So maybe staying as they were, with Barbe on the left-hand side of the back five. Kakai just slotting in. They're really under pressure now, and with those two changes, can they hold this West Brom team from getting a goal, another goal, and what would surely be the winner in this one? The referee getting more and more frustrated in this one as James Lannington screams for Alex Mowat to take the free kick where it needs to be taken. In a deep position, left-hand side. A good chance to whip one in here for West Brom. Looks as though the goal is going down as a Seny Dieng on goal. As Mowat whips it in towards the far post, headed away well there by Jimmy Dunn at the back. Don Ball, actually, sorry, as Chair picks up the pieces, plays it in towards Kakai on the right-hand side. It's played down the right again. That was too far in front of Andre Gray. And it's picked up all the way at the back and smashed forward by West Brom, headed forward by Rob Dickey. Is it going to be picked up by Hugel? No, he can't quite reach that one and steer it to where he wants. Instead, it bounces back to his goalkeeper. Kakai is definitely in a back three there with Dickey and Dunn. He's now the centre of the three centre halves after Jordi Device went off. As it's played forward up towards Lyndon Dykes, knocked down towards Andre Gray. Kyle Bartley sweeps that one back, he deflects, almost goes towards Elias Chair. Sam Johnston quick off his line and does well on that occasion. Now in the final few seconds at Coventry, 3-0 to them. They've done what they've needed to do, pick up a win against the Posh tonight. Adebayo inside to Lyndon Dykes, turned around the corner, headed out from the back, knocked forward by Townsend as well. Early jump from Carlin Grant on the left hand side, is eventually steered away by Don Ball, headed down by Bartley. Don Ball in there again with another header, as Adebayo does well to keep that one in play and play it back to Kakai. Chips it down the right hand side, as it's headed forward by Townsend, well headed forward in towards Reach. The first time he's really got forward in this game was when the West Brom goal came. As he sprints forward now down the left-hand side, picks up the ball from Grant on the left side, looking for a cross in towards the penalty spot, headed out from the back by Dozzle, picked up by Livermore, strikes at goal, blocked by his own man, picked up by Livermore again, strikes towards goal again! Just wide of the right-hand upright. Great work from Jake Livermore, the Baggies skipper, looking really busy in midfield there. Picking up the first one, it was definitely going wide. It almost knocked out Jordan Hugel. It hit him on the foot, but he went down like a salmon that had been sniped there. Jordan Hugel then picked up the ball again, did Livermore. That's on the second one. Could only drag it wide of the right-hand upright on his left side. But, looking good there, Jake Livermore, as the Giants gone down with a head injury now, and Dykes calls for the medical staff to come from the sidelines. Sportsmanship from Lyndon Dykes there, but West Brom are certainly the team on top in this one. If they're the team that are going to score, if anybody's going to score, it's going to be them, isn't it? It's maybe something that QPR could look at, though, and counteract, because they themselves went for the win against Bristol City and ended up losing that one. Yeah, it's definitely an own goal from Seny Dieng. 100% that's an own goal. He's palmed it towards his defenders in front of him, but then his hands come across and knocked it back. Into the bottom corner. So it's an unfortunate one for the Queen's Park Rangers goalkeeper, but maybe his team can pick up a winner here as Elias Che goes down the right-hand side. Andre Gray tries to flick it past Carl Bartley, who sprints out from the back, holds off Che, looking for options, plays it down the left. Grant flicks it forward in towards Hugel, who will chase that one into the channels. Dieng comes out of his own boxes. Hugel just completely runs over the top there of Rob Dickey, who was the defender that was furthest back. Didn't have to do that, could have just run around him. But just run over him like a lawnmower. Although Dickey was waiting and watching and put himself in front of Hugel. So I think that's a little harsh on the West Bromwich Albion striker. Rob Dickey knew exactly what he was doing with that one. And Dieng knocks it forward up towards Dykes. It's headed down, cleared away by Adam Reach. Final 6.5 minutes in this game, plus added time. It's West Bromwich Albion 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Myself, Matt Guy, being your independent, unofficial, off-tube studio-based commentary. As it's picked up in the midfield by Don Ball for Queen's Park Rangers. Back it goes into Seny Dieng. Can one of these two teams find a winner in this game? We went so long with QPR ahead after that first-minute goal through Andre Gray. And a 75-minute leveller, an own goal from Seny Dieng after the Carl Grant strike. And one of these two teams managed to edge themselves in front in this one. It certainly looks as though it's probably going to be West Brom out of the two. Although the most dangerous man in the first half, which was certainly Darnell Furlong for West Brom down the right, has not been too interested in this second half, although now he has a chance for one of his trademark long throw-ins. We've seen this so many times in the English leagues down the years. The likes of Rory Delap and Ryan Shotton at Stoke that almost started the trend. I'm sure somebody probably did it somewhere down the divisions before that, but of course that was really being the first high profile to do it. West Brom have taken up that mantle at the moment as Furlong fires it towards the near post. Ajayi battling for it. It's headed out by QPR though. Mowat then strikes on the volley, blocked away, goes out for a corner kick. Not the worst strike from Mowat, although it was straight into a group of bodies. He struck it well, getting some encouragement now from the Baggies fans inside the Hawthorns. All on their feet, cheering their team on, hoping they could pick up 3 points in this one. First win in 4 for them it would be after 3 draws in a row. It would be first win in 4 for QPR as well. So they've only managed 1 point in their last 3 games. As Mowat now looking for the in-swing in left-footed corner towards the front post, headed out by Dunn. His keeper smashes straight into him. It's headed forward by West Brom as Bartley keeps that one in play and interested. It's half cleared by QPR but picked up by Adam Reach, looking to go down the left. It's picked up by Grant now, gets in behind of Kakai. He's then just dragged on the shirt by Kakai there, and he will pick up a yellow card actually, which is the first yellow card of the game. And I suppose, yes, it's a pullback. It's one where he's misread the ball and Grant is going in towards the left flank to cross the ball in. But given that Kakai has literally only just come on, little over 8 minutes ago. Osman Kakai picks up the first yellow card of the game. Slightly harsh on the QPR man as Mowat whips in the resulting free kick, headed out to the edge of the box, struck at goal. That one from Karlan Grant, strikes that one on the volley, right-footed. He calls for a corner kick. It's given. Referee James Linington. Probably would have drifted wide anyway, but Johan Barbe just put a little bit of a nick on it to make sure it went wide of Seny Dieng's goal. And Darnell Furlong from the left-hand side, in-swinging right-footed corner towards the 6-yard box. It's missed by the goalkeeper, bounces down somehow. That ball scrambles away back towards Seny Dieng's hands as he fires that one forward early. It's a really nice touch though from Connor Townsend at the back, under pressure from Elias Chair. It's a ball over the top for West Brom, in towards the feet of Grant. It comes back in towards Robinson. He struck a goal, and eventually this time Seny Dieng gets his hands correct. Sorry, it was Darnell Furlong on the left-hand side. Smashed the ball forward. It bounced perfectly into him to run to and hit with the laces on the volley in a snapshot sort of manner. And he did strike it towards goal, but not quite in the corner enough to beat Seny Dieng, who just palmed the ball into the ground confidently and picked it back up. And West Brom won the ball back once again. Hugel flicks it on towards Robinson, out to the left-hand side. Grant once again through on goal! It's a winner for West Bromwich Albion! It's a huge goal. It's Karlan Grant. He may have had the other goal taken against him by Seny Dieng's own goal, but it's been coming for West Brom. It's been coming for Karlan Grant, and they've got what is surely the winner in this game. They went so long without scoring. They went so long being down in this game, but Karlan Grant in the left-hand channel has got through twice, and on this second occasion has scored his goal in this game. It's a lovely piece of play from West Bromwich Albion. Hugel into Robinson. Robinson to the left-hand side. And Grant manages to slot the ball into the bottom right-hand corner. He's picked up a couple of assists this season. He scored against Luton on the second outing of this season. It's his first goal since then. And Karlan Grant with his second goal of the season surely gives 3 points to Valérien Ismaël's side. He's cool on the sidelines. It's Valérien Ismaël, cool, calm and collected, the West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper. But what a move from the home side. Desperation for Rob Dickie and his Queen's Park Rangers men. Mark Warburton's side have hung on for so long. It was snatched away from them in the last game against Bristol City. Their former striker picking up the goal in that one, Naki Wells, in the 92nd minute to snatch all 3 points for Bristol City. But this one has been snatched away from them in the 88th minute. Heartbreak for the travelling QPR fans who've seen their team so far ahead in this game. But at the end of the day, it looks as though they're not going to take anything away from it. And all eyes and our camera pictures, no surprise, pan towards Seny Dieng. A poor goalkeeper mistake allowed QPR in the first minute of the game. That put the visitors ahead, and then a poor goalkeeper mistake from Seny Dieng allowed West Brom back in. And as soon as that first goal went in, you fancied them to get another. They were right on the front foot, West Brom. It's knocked forward by Livermore and by Robinson to the right-hand side. Mowat now cuts back, just inside play on his left boot, looking to counter-attack here for West Brom. Fired forward by Ajayi down the right-hand side. That one's just going to go straight out to play. Poor, you have to say there, from Semi Ajayi. Valérien Ismaël shakes his head for a moment. He knows that was a counter-attacking chance that could have absolutely sealed this game. But yet, we still have 5 minutes. QPR could still score, could still level things. It would be a big point. Yes, they haven't won in 4, even if they draw this game, but a point against a team as highly ranked as West Bromwich Albion in the division at the Hawthorns can never be seen as a bad result. Taken down out of the skies by Dykes on his chest. Dozzle tries to play it back towards Dykes as Mowat controls it, then overhead kicks the ball in a clearance. Rob Dickey under pressure here from Hugel. Hugel does brilliantly. Shoulder to shoulder challenge now. Dickey eventually steers the ball away down the left hand side. It goes out for a throw in. He's shoved. And why does Hugel do that? Why did he need to do that? Jordan Hugel has gone all that way. He's done absolutely brilliantly. There's no advantage whatsoever. The referee knows it's a fair challenge. He knows he's hounded Dickey the whole way. And then in the end has just pushed him in the shoulder, and the foul has gone against him in the end. There was no need to push him, and a yellow card is going to come out here for Jordan Hugel, who and then went down holding his boot off camera, so I didn't quite see what went on. Forward. Hartley wins the first. Ryan looking to battle again is on. He collided once or twice. Mowat going down the left hand side, reach pressuring all the way in towards Kakai on the right hand side. Odebayo is just flying himself forward now, and absolutely rightly so for QPR. 3.5 minutes gone of added time of the 6 at the end of this game at the Hawthorns. It's West Bromwich Albion coming from a goal behind to now lead 2-1. 2 goals in the second half. 75th minute and 88th minute, courtesy of Karlan Grant, although the first one will go down as a Seni Dieng own goal. Just seconds left in this game, a couple of minutes to go. 140 seconds or so it is to go here as it's played down the right hand side in behind the West Brom defence. I think Kean Bryan's got a shout there. Good work from Sam Johnston, screaming forward, claiming the ball for himself, and drops to his knee. As close as possible to Sam Johnston whilst allowing him goal kick. This kick from his hand, should I say. He's taking his time here. Johnston smashes it very high in towards the QPR half now. Underneath that one, battling for it is Hugel, then jumping for it is Reach, tries to flick that one on, but Kakai gets there first. Odebayo now down the right hand side, knocks it down the line, headed on by Dykes, almost caught there by Andre Gray, but it's picked up instead on the right hand side by Furlong. He tries to go long in towards Callum Robinson. Good control from Jimmy Dunn under pressure. Inside he goes to Andre Dozzle, back to Dunn once again, looking for an option, goes inside to Chair. He's become quieter and quieter, nutmegged by Jay Livermore. 1 minute to go. Mowat over the top of the QPR defence, down the right hand side towards Robinson, running against Andre Dozzle. Just too much on that one. Goes past Callum Robinson, out for a throw-in over on the far side. Down the left, it's fizzed into the feet of Elias Chair. He can't quite control that one from the throw-in, but it's picked up in the middle of the park by Don Ball. Now with Dunn looking to fire forward, good sliding challenge comes in, then another one for West Bromwich Albion, but Chair flicks the ball audaciously over the legs there of Karlan Grant. Hugel pushing, sorry, not Karlan Grant, that one's Robinson up forward. As a foul goes against Kean Bryan in the middle of midfield there in the centre circle. And in that centre circle, it's a good chance. 15 seconds or so to go in this one. QPR looking to level things at the death here It's a free kick in the centre circle as Kyle Bartley shouts across to his teammates saying, "Get on my line, stay high, catch them offside." Chair plays it in behind, trying to be flicked forward. It's headed out by West Brom, taken down by Andre Dozzell. A few seconds over this 96, as will be right, as there's been a few extra stoppages in added time. It's flicked forward by Chair to the edge of the box once again, headed out by West Brom. This time Adebayo is the man to cover. All eyes on the referee. Ball back now with Seny Dieng. Back into Adebayo once again, down the right side, Chester down into Kakai by Lyndon Dykes. Kakai gets in behind his man, he's clipped from behind. Does he have a chance to cross here? Adam Reach gets across, he's claiming that it should have been a foul, but nonetheless he's won himself a corner. 30 seconds over the time gone. Not surprising that the referee is allowing things to go, and Seny Dieng will surely come up from the back here. Final seconds at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Queen's Park Rangers with a corner in the last seconds to try and level this one. Elias Cherit's the man to beat. He has to put this one nicely into the box. Outswinging, right foot to ball towards Seny Dieng. Rises highest, does he know? It's led down by Carl Bartley. That's it, says the referee, James Linington. And coming from behind, West Bromwich Albion have picked up all 3 points. A huge victory for West Brom. Their first win in 4 after 3 draws in a row. And Valérien Ismail's side take all 3 points thanks to Carlan Grant's 2 strikes on his left boot. The first one will go down as a Seny Dieng own goal. But after 90 minutes it's finished. West Bromwich Albion 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. It's all over at the Hawthorns, and it's the home side who have ended up taking all 3 points. A frustrating evening once again for Mark Warburton. Last time against Bristol City had it snatched away from him at the 92nd minute. This time, thanks to Carlan Grant, it's the 88th minute. QPR scored in the first minute of the game and hung on until the 75th.